A manless life equals peace and tranquility. Like, that's what the guys don't understand. The guys cannot relate. The first thing they want to say is, so you're celibate? Like, yes, she's celibate because the alternative is to basically raise a whole ass man child for a whole lifetime. Nobody wants to do that. Who wants to do that? Nobody. I mean, what you don't understand is that tranquility is knowing that you're not getting taken advantage of, that you don't have to wake up and someone's asking you what's for breakfast, what's for dinner. What does it matter? She's going to the gym. She is enjoying her time. She is at peace. She's safe. See, it was cool for guys because they had women convinced that the only way a woman was safe and secure is if she was with a man, but now she's not safe with a man, so guess what? It's easier to just not have the man at all. Enjoy the peace, enjoy the freedom, enjoy indulging in things that make you happy versus things that make you cry.
Have you ever noticed that some women seem to change when they move in with a man? A woman who used to be happy, playful, ambitious, and full of life suddenly, for some strange reason, becomes irritated, exhausted, she overwhelmed, and constantly frustrated. And people will say she changed. But sometimes the question isn't why did she change? The question is what environment did she change in? Because a lot of women don't become bitter overnight. They become bitter after years of unheard, unsupported, overextended, and disconnected from themselves. Okay? They become bitter after years of feeling that way. And this conversation is about understanding what happens when a woman continuously pours from an empty cup, carries responsibilities that were never meant to be hers alone, and loses herself trying to maintain a relationship. And I want to say this, if this woman is you, don't feel shame for needing to leave. Don't feel shame because you're going through this. You need to get out. Don't feel like you need to save face and make it look like everything is all good when it's not. No, that's not benefiting you. That's benefiting that man. Because when you lose your peace for too long, your body, your emotions, and your personality will eventually start showing the damage. And that affects you. Today, we're talking about why some women become sick. They become bitter, angry, and frustrated when they live with men. And what happens when a woman decides to choose herself again. Now, reason number one, she becomes bitter because she becomes the manager instead of the partner. One of the biggest reasons women become frustrated living with a man is because they stop feeling like a partner and start feeling like a caretaker, a mother, a parent, a guardian. A lot of women naturally take on the mental load, remembering appointments, managing the household. Do you know people pay house managers? House managers working one day a week are making 18,000 a year. House managers working 2 and 3 days a week are making 20 to 25 grand a year. And that's just one of her mental loads. She's planning the meals, keeping things organized, noticing what needs to be done before anyone else notices. And some would say she doesn't have to do it before anyone else notices, but it's going to affect her and the way she is managing the home because the home isn't going to get managed without her. And the professional house managers, they're not even cleaning up. They're just managing the house. So they're ordering the food for the chef or whoever. They're scheduling the house cleaners to come. They're not cleaning. The exhausting part isn't always the task itself, though. The exhausting part is feeling like you're the only person responsible for making life run smoothly. You have no help. And it's a job that goes thankless. It's thankless. You don't get thanks for that. People are going to say, well, that's what you're supposed to do. You live there. Psychologists call this the mental load, the invisible, unpaid labor, the invisible responsibility of constantly thinking and planning and anticipating needs. A woman can physically rest while her mind is still working overtime. And when someone feels like they have another adult depending on them, that instead of standing beside them, resentment is going to start to build. I remember I was a stay-at-home mother. I had a little side hustle and I was on government assistance. So the bills weren't really that big and my kid's dad lived with me. Guess what? He still came and gave me 50-50. I knew no better then. Don't beat me up because I knew no better then. That will never in life happen again. Voluntarily, never. If I can do anything about it, never. And they say never, but never. But I had to do the cooking, the cleaning, the getting the kids ready for school, walking them to the bus stop, or taking them to school because he was at work. And he came and brought me 50-50. Then he started paying the bills all together because I was like, hey, this ain't going to work. Yeah, when he was doing 50-50, the jobs were, he wasn't making consistent income, but I was still doing more at home. And he started paying the bills, but he still wasn't helping at home. He started paying the bills because I stopped working and he still wasn't doing stuff at home. So, guess what? I was doing everything, trying to make sure I'm cooking every day, building lessons for the kids, doing homework, all of that. It didn't stop. Now, reason number 2 is because women stop prioritizing themselves. A lot of women enter relationships with dreams and hobbies. They have goals and systems in place, routines that make them feel alive. But over time, some women start putting themselves last. They stop taking care of themselves and stop investing in their appearances. They stop chasing their goals because that's what men will convince them needs to be done. They'll convince them, hey, you need to stay home and let me take care of the bills. You don't worry about the money. So they stop chasing their goals. That is the biggest lie ever. That is the biggest disservice you can do to yourself as a woman. Don't ever do that. She stops doing things that make her happy, and eventually she looks around and realizes, I don't even recognize who the I am anymore. That frustration isn't always about her not doing anything. Sometimes it's grief over the version of herself she feel like she lost. A woman who constantly sacrifices herself without feeling appreciated can start associating the relationship with exhaustion instead of joy. And that's exactly what it is. You're exhausted in this relationship. Before this relationship, you weren't exhausted. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Now that you're in this relationship and whatever kind of agreement y'all done worked out, you're exhausted. So if that agreement doesn't change, the relationship is exhausting. A healthy relationship should add to a woman's life, not erase your identity. Reason number 3, women become very bitter and angry and frustrated and sick because your nervous system is constantly under attack. Your emotional state is deeply connected to your environment. When someone feels like they are constantly walking on eggshells, arguing, explaining themselves, and these men know, they know exactly what you mean. You don't even have to explain it like a 3-year-old, like you're talking to a 3-year-old, because they know, they just act like it's weaponized incompetence. So when you're constantly explaining yourself or carrying the emotional responsibility for another person, your body can stay in a state of stress. Chronic stress is going to affect your sleep. It's going to affect your moods, your energy level. It's going to affect your patience with your kids. That's why I tell women, especially mothers, get out. If you have kids, get out for your kids if you can't see yourself getting out for yourself. It's going to affect your physical health. This is why some women say, I used to be so calm before this relationship. I used to be so glowy before this relationship. I used to be so happy and free and bubbly before this relationship. Because peace is not just your mindset, peace is also your environment. It's how you're being treated on a regular. If a woman never feels emotionally safe, supported, or able to relax, your body may respond with anger, frustration, bitterness, exhaustion. Some anger is not the problem. Sometimes anger isn't the problem. Sometimes anger is the alarm system. Your nervous system is telling you something has been ignored for too long, you about to pop. That's what it is. You're in this for too long, you're about to pop, like an episode of Snapped. Women are sick and bitter and frustrated when they live with men because you are feeling unappreciated. One of the fastest ways to create resentment is when someone consistently gives you their ASS to kiss and you are rarely feeling valued. Many women don't need a constant prize. I can tell you that for sure. They don't need constant praise like men do. Men want constant praise for the most basic, bare minimum stuff. But although women don't need constant praise, they do need to feel seen. We do want to know that our efforts matter. We want to know that our feelings matter and our presence matters. When a woman feels like everything she does is expected instead of appreciated, she can start emotionally withdrawing. And that is probably what you're doing. That's what a lot of women are doing because people naturally feel frustrated when they become invisible. When they feel invisible, they're going to become frustrated. Love without appreciation can start feeling like an obligation. And a lot of women across the world are going through that. That's why I love social media because we get to see it firsthand from the horse's mouth. Women are sick and bitter and frustrated when they live with men because they lose access to their femininity. They lose access to their feminine energy. A lot of women talk about wanting to feel soft and feminine and playful and carefree. But it is difficult to feel that way when you constantly feel like you have to be in survival mode or mother mode. When a woman feels like she has to fight to be heard, constantly remind someone of something, continuously explain herself, handle everything herself, protect her peace every single day, she may naturally become more hardened. Not may, it's going to happen. It's a guarantee. Not because she wants to, because she adapted to what she was experiencing. I'm telling you, women moving in with men that's one of the biggest disservices you can do for yourself. Because a woman who feels supported has more room to be relaxed and creative, loving and joyful. A woman who feels unsupported may feel like she has to become someone she never wanted to be. The goal of this conversation is for women to spot the common denominator and exit out. The goal is for women to become aware of what environments bring out the best version of themselves and what environments slowly drain them. Because the right relationship should not make you smaller. It should not make you lose your confidence. It should not make you forget your dreams. The right relationship should give you room to grow, evolve, and become even more of who you already are. And that relationship is the relationship with yourself. Stop moving in with these men. And if you look in the mirror and realize you're more angry, exhausted, and less happy than you used to be, don't ignore that. Don't feel shame because you gotta come up with a new plan. Pay attention to what your life is trying to tell you. Because a woman who is connected to herself, protects her peace, and prioritizes her growth becomes unstoppable. Remember, your peace is valuable, your energy is valuable, your happiness is valuable. And the woman you're becoming deserves an environment that is going to support that. That environment, 9 times out of 10, is going to be you living with yourself, enjoying your own company, making your own memories. This is Pretty Girl Rich Era, where we heal, level up, and become the best version of ourselves. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, loves.